We saw actual football this weekend, but how much of it does it actually matter? I have Lucas over from the Fantasy Football Fellas, and we're here to give you 12 points that you need to know before you draft after preseason one right here on the Fast Draft Pod. All right, my boy. I know you saw it. It's going to start a war on Twitter, man. Shedeur Sanders. He looks good against, albeit backups. I think there is a happy medium that it matters and it doesn't matter. It matters, but take it with a grain of salt. He had a great game. Right now on Fast Draft, I don't know if you know because you're over there with Underdog, but it's only 15 rounds for us. It's really shallow. We try to keep it quick. You're going to start one QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex on there. So he has a 0% rostership right now. QB 35. That is, but there's the shadow realm that I told people, and there's beneath that, and there's where Shedeur Sanders is. And then when you think about diversifying your roster, no matter the best ball tournament, Shedeur Sanders seems like a good bet.
Hands down. I mean, this is like the perfect double bird Shedeur could have given to start his NFL career, right? It's like, okay, really, you're going to punish me, draft me in the 5th round. Cool, I'll just come out and ball out. One preseason game, obviously you have the hamstring injuries with Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel too. But it's becoming more and more clear who the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks are going to be this year, right? I think Joe Flacco is probably still going to get the week 1 start, but these preseason reps matter for guys like Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Look, if one guy's out there dominating reps and dominating his playtime as well, there's zero reason why Shedeur Sanders should be drafted in 0% of leagues. I mean, again, I'll go ahead, over on Underdog. It's not like anybody's drafting any of the Browns quarterbacks over there too, because, up to literally this last weekend, you're basically drawing names out of a hat as to who the quarterback was going to be. So I get why people don't want to take the plunge, but I think what this at least does is, one, prove Shedeur Sanders could end up being the best quarterback on the Cleveland Browns. I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis there, but nobody's going to be surprised if that's the actual outcome, considering the lack of talent, I'll say, in this quarterback room. But 2, I also think it's so important for these pass catchers too, for the Jerry Judys, the David Njoku, if you want to throw Cedric Tillman out there, who is, the wide receiver 2 for this team. Or labeled now the wide receiver 2 for this team. It means good things for them, and it's not going to be surprising when Shedeur ends up getting on the field this year. It was just a matter of, hey, can he actually overcome the quote unquote punishment, if that's what you want to label it, that the NFL kind of gave him.
100%, because you got to think about the gamesmanship of it, and I promise you guys, this isn't going to be a Shedeur Sanders show.
I don't want it to be, but
no, it's not going to be. Fun fact, guys, he's going to make the thumbnail, and I have to do this. So that's where we're at, guys. This is magic. But it's just for the Browns, they have one option. Do you want to lose with Joe Flacco and not see what you have in a supposed blue chip with Shedeur Sanders? Or do you want to maybe win, even if it's a little bit, that you could build around someone like Shedeur Sanders? Or, and hear me out, you lose with Shedeur Sanders, it's just it doesn't matter. It's a win-win scenario for Darth Vader up in the box who hates him so much.
Right.
Shedeur's going to look bad or good. Either way, you could say well, I humbled him and that's why he's good. You could totally good old boy him. And we will talk shit about you on the internet after you do it. But I'm just saying, a lot of people will think, well, they did the right thing. They humbled him and he made him a good quarterback. No, he was already good. And you just made a whole collusion charade out of it. Anyway, that's it on that, guys. So docs up. And to give you actual actionable advice here, I think in best ball specifically, and even in redraft, guys, because I tell everyone it's all the same. We're all playing with the same value, no matter dynasty, best ball, whatever, for 2025. Is you want to take Shedeur Sanders a shot if you draft Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or something like that, to where basically someone has to die for and I mean theoretically in fantasy that if you're drafting Lamar Jackson, if someone else beats Lamar Jackson, just light that roster on fire. You know, like that's the way you need to do it and approach builds. Moving on, we're going to talk about another problematic QB, Kyler Murray. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, still going in the 9th round. QB9. We were joking a little bit pre-show. I was doing projections, and I'm just optimistic about all these guys. I was like, I love Trey McBride, I love Marvin Harrison at cost, but when you're actually building projections on these players, do I really think Kyler Murray is set up for a god season again?
Yeah.
It's hard to say, because I think there's two things before I kick it off to you, is that Kyler Murray is better than what people say he is, and he's also just as shitty about the same things. Like, we have a hard time finding the middle. Like, no, he doesn't deserve to be a backup, but like, no, he's like, he might not be like, he's never going to be Lamar Jackson. Let's put it that way. He's never going to be like Josh Allen or something like that, but maybe he's Jared Goff with legs, but it's the Drew Petzing thing that's a problem. That is, I think, like he's just a problem for all these people. So going as a QB9, that's almost too rich for my blood. Where are you at?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you brought up projections. This is, I believe, my 3rd year getting into the projection streets, and I've gotten burned on that Kyler, optimism in the past, right? Where it's like, oh shoot, he comes out as my quarterback 4 overall. I'm all in on Kyler Murray, and it's like, well, maybe he's just a forever top 10, top 12 quarterback. We have to leave it at that. And he came out as quarterback 13 in my projections. And you take that with a grain of salt. He's only 5 points behind 2 quarterbacks ahead of him, right? You can sift that out however you want. But I think you named it with the Drew Petzing thing, right? It was all of our fears of this Cardinals team literally manifested in one preseason Kyler Murray throw, because there was 0 infrastructure changes made to this offense, essentially 0. All the clips you see of Marv on Twitter, it's these admittedly dope contested catches that are like, okay, all right, maybe there's something here. But then you realize nothing about those are easy. And the one time Marv runs an easy crosser that should just be an easy completion for Kyler Murray, he just throws an absolute duck, right? So I think it's normally really bad process to say, hey, I'm just going to copy and paste what this team did last year and put it into this year, because that's just lazy. It never works that way. But yet, you bring up the Drew Petzing thing, it's 100% correct, because nothing has changes, and that's the vibe this Cardinals team is giving off. So quarterback 9, yeah, I look at this as almost like a tier, right? Where you get like probably Kyler Murray is like the top of that tier, and we'll say like we'll put Dak Prescott or Drake May at the bottom of that tier, right? And it's like, I would just rather take the guys at the bottom of that tier in terms of quarterbacks, because I think they could produce essentially the same results at less of a price in terms of fantasy points that Kyler Murray could produce this year.
100%. Yeah, man. It's and that's exactly where I'm at with it, is that, yeah, you don't want to copy and paste, but I adjusted certain things that were better. Like maybe the connection with Marvin Harrison is a little bit better, so I'll up that catch rate just a smidge. But It was all kind of coming out the same at the end of the day.
Right.
And then even Heath Cummings with CBS, he's just like, oh wow, another deep shot. And I was talking with Matt Harmon over the weekend about some of these teams that anymore, the longer I get in this business, I've always been film first. Like now me doing projections is me like tightening things together and like bringing things back in reality and not chasing the film of like one player in a vacuum. But anymore, I draft teams and schemes, man, that like, okay, I'm in on the Jets just by default because I'm just curious what this Lions cast off of Ben Johnson is going to do. Even I'm willing to step on the Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson rake one more time at cost to see what happens, especially in Bestball, but like if anyone off the Andy Reid shoot, I just don't want, man. Like Eric Bieniemy, trash. Like Matt Nagy, trash. Like the only one who can do Andy Reid is Andy Reid.
Right.
Like that. It doesn't work for me. That's what happened with Bill Belichick. Josh McDaniel can't do anything away from home. So like I'll be back in on the Patriots now that he has zero control, but over hitting A, X, Y, or Z on the controller on the right. That's it. So Kyler Murray, man, maybe either risk it for Justin Fields or go all the way down to Trevor Lawrence, because I feel like the two positions with clear dead zones, like we always talk about the running back dead zone, it is quarterback and tight end, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like quarterback. I either want Lamar Jackson or I just zone out, and then it's Trevor Lawrence, Drake May. I'll get interested.
Yeah, even looking at like that middle range too, like Kyler Murray and Justin Fields are going like maybe 2-3 quarterbacks apart. That's the easiest bet in the world for me. If I'll just take the guy who I know is going to rush more, will probably get more rushing touchdowns this year as well. Just give me Justin Fields. The rushing is his absolute floor. Whatever you get in the passing game, right, is Josh Norris always says is the upside then afterwards. So to me, that's just an easy bet. I'll just take the cheaper cost of Justin Fields instead of Kyler Murray. If you want to draft theorize it that way as well, but we can keep moving.
Yeah, and we had I want to bring up one more thing because you bring up a good point. Like when we have these micro markets, like remember the Justin Fields foot injury, like it's like that creates a micro market, and that's why like some of these players, there's not a lot of ADP movement. There's the first ones that we have, but the next ones, like I always bring up the movement and average draft position because that's when you can attack some of these things. It's like, all right now I'm out of this market, like I'm out of the Quinshon Judkins market. I'm way overweight already. Like there's just it's just every day it gets worse. I'm just like, it's like. If anything, this is how they get you with gambling and stuff. I was like, man, I got to draft more so that percentage goes down.
right. All this portfolio talk that people keep making a big deal out of. I guess I got to actually pay attention to that, don't I? Yeah,
exactly.
You should.
And then we have the opposite, which is a good segue to Travis Hunter, and this is why the gamesmanship of stacking, and again the quarterback dead zone. I like getting Travis Hunter. I like getting Brian Thomas Jr. because I don't even if I reach a round or two on Trevor Lawrence, it doesn't matter that much. Like I don't feel like I have to try. Me trying to get sometimes Kyler Murray, I'm like, there's like real people that could help me.
There's actionable advice. There's actionable help I could take here.
Yeah, exactly. But Travis Hunter, 5th round in the Rabbit, pretty consistent that he's going like wide receiver 2 or 3 in almost every draft pool. And he's trending up now. And I'm sure, as the new data rolls in, I'm going to watch that number go up by the time I make a new video. I'm still all in. I've been all in. I thought a lot of people were silly. Like I said, I'm film first. Travis Hunter was always a very good wide receiver. A lot of people were like, he's a better cornerback. I'm like, I think he's a great cornerback too. Like there's two things that could be true. He's good at both positions. And when you have an offensive minded coach who loves to spread it out and he makes this system where everyone's a wide receiver one, you have to love him. Like, are you still in, even if he goes up in price?
100%, because the price was already going down and I was scooping up even. I was in at the previous price before all of a sudden, his price is dipping down 4 or 5 picks and 2-3 wide receivers are jumping him here, because you don't just trade up from the 5th overall pick to the 2nd overall pick by giving up your 2026 first round pick to literally not play this guy on offense. I never understood what was so hard to understand about that equation. Like the easiest equation was sticking him in the slot for his offensive snaps to get him these easy, free moving looks. Like, again, if you watch film, you just know how different this guy moves. Yes. So you get him wide ass open in space and just let Travis Hunter do the rest. 62.5% was his slot usage in that preseason game. So because Liam Cohen is a smart football coach, right, we got a sneak peek of that, which is exactly what he's going to do, because Travis Hunter is too freaking good of a football player to not have him play on offense, to not major in that category before eventually, deepening that minor on defense. He's just going to get him embarrassingly open. When teams are worried about Brian Thomas on the perimeter, you stick him out there in 3 wide receiver sets, let Travis Hunter get to work. Let him use his gift of athleticism is like the understatement of the year when you're describing Travis Hunter. So the price is going to go up, and I'm just going to keep buying because there's legit upside here where he could be, a top 20, top 15 guy come into season. And some people might think that's crazy, but man, if Liam Cohen strikes gold in this offense, that's only good things for Brian Thomas Jr., for Travis Hunter, and whatever you want to make of the running backs. We're talking about Travis Hunter. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm still buying when the price goes up.
Well, it's just like the only one I'm no longer in on at cost is Tootin. That's it. 100%. Like this entire offense. It's like you saw the preview. The Buccaneers are the blueprint. Like everyone ate in that offense. Cade Otton was eaten in that offense.
Right.
Like if I go really buff tight end, if I'm getting McBride and Bowers, and I do, that's like I don't think you could be overweight on Bowers or McBride.
No.
Like those are the type of players that if I'm there, I'm taking them. And then I go get like Britton Strange because I'm expecting Bowers and McBride to be in my lineup week in and week out. But barring injury, I think Britton Strange is someone that's good to be in that offense. And to bring it back to Travis Hunter here, man, you talk about the movement, and to go back to my grades, he was my third highest graded wide receiver. And it's like, it was by 2 points when I say third highest graded. They were all in the blue chip tier of players. And I told Jeff Bell, this was before the draft and everything. I was like, he reminds me of a smaller Brian Thomas Jr. I was like, he's not as polished as some other people, but he is just so crazy fluid and athletic that none of it matters. Same thing like Malik Neighbors, man. Like it just, this guy moves differently and he's going to eat a ton of targets. Does this mean that Brian Thomas Jr. is over? No, guys. This is like, it's like,
No.
like it's, you guys aren't getting it. You're not hearing me, man. Look at what Baker Mayfield did last year. And that's the kind of bet that I'm going to make.
Yeah.
All right. I've been out on Ashton Jeanty at cost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not me saying he's going to bust. It's just that I think that at his cost, I could probably get his ceiling with Amari and Hampton. This is not a dynasty take either. It's just that if I'm going to be in the first round and if I'm going to pay RB5 prices, which he's going like the 8th player off the board in most cases, probably going to take a wide receiver I might even reach for a tight end depending on, how crazy I am. How is the beer flowing? How many drafts?
Right.
So, but like now everyone saw 3 carries and they think Ashton Jeanty sucks. I don't know if you heard.
I've heard, because ranking Ashton Jeanty is peak on board and I need something to overreact to the part of the offseason, right? No. Nothing changes for me here. I do find it, I shouldn't say fascinating. I think there's two, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of fence sitting with Ashton Jeanty. You're either like, yeah, he's the rookie who can finish as the RB1 overall, or it's, yeah, RB5's a little rich and he's probably going to finish closer to RB7, RB8 this year. And I feel like exactly. I'm very comfortable sitting on the fence. I'm like, I'll mix in my exposures at running back 5. I prefer Devon Achane straight up. I will always take Devon Achane ahead of Ashton Jeanty, but like, he's a rookie playing on a team that was tied for the second fewest touchdowns in the league last year. And yet, sure, this team made improvements over the offseason, but like, we're acting like preseason is just like the grave of Ashton Jeanty, which again, I get people are probably overblowing it intentionally to try and make a joke out of it. But like with this whole team just getting a facelift, it's going to take time for everything to gel together. I get why people are just like, if he was RB7, being drafted around the same price point, slightly before, slightly after, like a Derrick Henry, for example, I totally get that. For me, I'm just like RB5, RB6, RB7. I don't care. I'll probably mix them in with my exposures. But Devon Achane's the one going around him that I'm like firmly hitting the draft button over, just because the explosiveness that he provides at Miami Dolphins offense within their scheme is just otherworldly, I think at least. But again, more of an Ashton Jeanty opinion, less of a Devon Achane opinion.
No, we could take this detour because I've been telling everyone straight up, like because like CMC has been a hot topic on this show, because I'm just out on CMC at cost. Like, guys, I was like, Devon Achane's already proven that he has that same upside and he has the same injury risk. Like like, and he's younger. Like to me, I would and I know the Dolphins are trash, but Devon Achane isn't, because when they're trash, who they give the ball to more often is Devon Achane.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened last season. They're like, oh, Tyreek's out, Jalen Waddle, I don't know what he's doing right now. It's just going to be Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane. You know who's not there anymore? Jonnu Smith. So it's just, to me, I would rather have that. And those 3 carries that he got -1 yard in are the reason why I think he can have an RB8. But if I'm Pete Carroll, if I'm Chip Kelly, and I saw those 3 plays, I'm like, all right, that's it. Let's not risk it. Yeah, exactly.
We'll save you for the season. Right.
Yeah.
You saw an NFL defense for the first time in relative game speed. We don't need any more negative buzz coming out here when we all know that's not the outcome that's going to happen for Ashton Jeanty. I think you're just foolish if you're actually trying to convince yourself of that.
Exactly. He's the guy who he's going to break those off regardless what's
Oh,
happened in the backfield. But that Raiders offensive line isn't what like Amari and Hampton has in the
totally.
Chargers. You know,
Yes.
that's the point that I'm bringing up is that like Ashton Jeanty is a very good bat. Amari and Hampton has the better, like it's nature versus nurture. Ashton Jeanty has a better nature. Amari and Hampton has a better nurture there. And that's kind of how I play that game. But like I said, I think Ashton Jeanty is like a perfectly fine floor play. By floor play, that floor is RB7. That's a pretty damn good floor, guys. So like, don't overthink it. Someone else who I've said that we're drafting him probably at his ceiling is
Mhm.
Tetairoa McMillan, 4th round, wide receiver 20. He's already up 3 spots after we saw some fun shake and bake and almost touchdowns, but relatively good play regardless. And Bryce Young, it looked like, even though it's preseason, it looked like the same Bryce Young we got at the end. It like he
Mhm.
didn't turn back into a pumpkin. So all good things. Are you if he gets much higher than this, I can't do it. I don't know if I can do it. You know.
His price has always been so rich to me, and not in like a bad way, but more of a I really need some time to warm up. To basically, wide receiver 24, I think he opened at, and he's all the way up to what like wide receiver 21, wide receiver 20 now. And there's a case for it. If you really think this Carolina Panthers offense is going to take a drastic leap forward this year, if you think Bryce Young is going to get a bunch of like premeditated looks to the outside, like you saw
Mm-hmm.
down the sideline, right? He instantly picked it up, said, "All right, I'm going to go let Tet win one for me." Throws it perfectly along the sideline to the outer shoulder, brings it down. It was a beautiful thing, but you need that to be like constant all the time. And I just again, this is preseason. I want to see it against a first team defense in week 1, in week 2, in week 3, where I think what you're paying for at the price right now is probably 7 weeks of like a borderline wide receiver 2 wide receiver. And then over the back half of the season, when you see these rookie wide receivers typically break out, that's when you're hoping Tet McMillan gets to this like top 15 wide receiver echelon. Ron Stewart put out a phenomenal stat on Twitter. This was this was over a month ago already, but since 2010, 21 rookie wide receivers have posted 16 plus points per game from week 9 on. That screams Tet McMillan to me, but you got to get to week 9 first before you start seeing that 16 plus point production. And that's assuming Tet McMillan even gets there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, wide receiver 20 is my wide receiver 2. I'm like, who, I'll mix in my exposures because I don't want to be wrong, but I'm kind of with you where Tet's always been at this price tag where I've been more skeptical to be in because I know I'm not going to get wide receiver 20 production right out of the gate. I want to see it first with this supposedly new and revamped, improving Carolina Panthers offense this year.
Yeah,
I'm a
and a lot
believer in
of it.
Bryce Young. I'm a believer in Ted, but show it to me first because I don't think we're going to get that kind of production until week 6, 7 into the season.
Yeah, I just don't think they have the infrastructure right away to like make the leap that we're thinking the Jaguars can make at this
Right.
point. You know, the Jaguars have been acquiring talent for a long time, and we've been sitting here poking it with the stick, saying, "Come on, do something." You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
now we have the Liam Cohen offense in, but like now, like to me, Bryce Young was that first piece. Then getting Tetairoa McMillan. Now they actually have a good stable of running backs back there. That's something. Now the offensive line is still like that's what's going to hold the offensive back. And to me, behind Tetairoa McMillan, I'm not all in on Jatavian Sanders yet. I need to see more of it. Like I said, Adam Thielen, how long is that going to hold up? But I will say Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette, as long as he keeps his hands to himself,
Yeah.
could be something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's to me, it's like we're just drafting him at a ceiling. That's just like Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter was at the same range, I would be saying the same thing at this point. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
like I love me some 5th round action on that, but
Yeah.
like, like people are like, well, he's Drake London. I'm like, for sure, but Drake London didn't even like he wasn't even Drake London
Yeah.
until like last season. We had to really wait on that.
Right. Well, and even just to throw in one more thing here, I mean, you think of the range of wide receivers he's going in, though. Like, I think this is the point that I've started turning back on myself. Even is like, can I make a case that Tet McMillan is going to be better than DJ Moore this year? Can I make a case that he's going to be better than Xavier Worthy, better than
Yep.
Devonta Smith? Right. Like, these are all like either very questionable wide receiver ones on their own team, or they're like just flat out the wide receiver twos behind alphas on their teams. I'm like, if Ted does turn into an alpha, then yeah, he could totally smash this. But betting on a rookie wide receiver to do that through the first 6-7 weeks of the season, I'm banking a lot on back end production there. And that's just a game that I think everybody kind of has to play for themselves. As for me, I can talk myself into it, but it's not like I'm eager and excited to just smash a draft button on Tet McMillan at wide receiver 20, even though we just saw what could be, Bryce Young and Tet McMillan's connection all season.
Yep. Then this is an individual player that is bad. It's more that it's the reality of what the team is going to be. And I think we're drafting him at his ceiling. And I've been guilty of being pro Breece Hall, but like it was more me. I just didn't think Isaiah Davis was real. Isaiah Davis is real. I knew Braylon Allen was real, but I was like, I don't know about Isaiah Davis, but Breece Hall, 3rd round, RB13. He's starting to trend down. He's starting to feel like Bucky Irving to me, where I just like, I'm hard. It's hard for me to draft Bucky Irving. Cause again, like, I just don't think he's like, that's his ceiling right there. If anything happens, then it's, you kind of took a loss there. Where are you at on Breece Hall at this point?
I've literally been flip-flopping on Breece Hall. I think every morning I wake up and I ask myself in the mirror, I look in the mirror, I ask myself, are you in or are you out on Breece Hall today? And I can't force myself to give myself an answer because I truly don't know. One moment I'm like, you know what? If Breece Hall gets a good amount of receiving work this year, Justin Fields can check down the football. He was top 7 in check down rate. Yeah, absolutely. We could totally PPR scam our way off of an inefficient season with limited touchdowns and Justin Fields in the red zone to getting to a top 12 running back. Absolutely. But man, if Isaiah Davis is going to be playing on 3rd downs, and he is real, you and I shared the same question. I think Braylon Allen was always going to be a factor this year, but if Isaiah Davis is coming in on 3rd down, I'm going to start waking up less and less, looking myself in the mirror and saying, I got to be in on Breece Hall today and take the shot. I think I'm kind of done drafting Breece Hall until he gets closer to like the James Cook range, even below a James Cook range of player, right? Because it's what they've been saying all offseason. We're going to use all 3 running backs. Yep. We didn't quite understand what that looked like. Like, really, we're going to run Isaiah Davis over Breece Hall, who has shown he can be a prolific pass catching back. Apparently, Aaron Glenn wasn't bluffing. All right, they're going to use. Apparently, it looks like they're going to use a 3-man rotation. My only hope is that they're just saving Breece Hall for a little bit more juice going into the season. But man, if we're lining up the coach speak with what we saw in preseason, just get ready for the new normal that Breece Hall probably isn't going to quite live up to that RB13, RB12 price tag, and you're going to get some really annoying Isaiah Davis touches this year.
Yeah, it's the Buccaneers, man.
Yeah,
like we need to lower them all. Do like if you're a dynasty guy, listen to this. Should you sell Breece Hall? Maybe, but like, don't like, it's not fire sell is what I'm saying.
Sale. No.
Yeah. This isn't like desperate Breece Hall sucks. I got to get him off. No, but like maybe try to tear up and down and see what you can get for him. So like that's the caveat I want to say. And then in Bestball, like, I think I'm just going to, this is actually the perfect segue because this is scary here. Yep. I would just rather have TreVeyon Henderson. I would just move on down the tier on there at that point, because like, if I'm going to have someone in a weird committee in an offense that I'm not 100% sure is great, why not get a pass catching back like TreVeyon Henderson? 4th to 5th round, RB20. He's moving up 4 spots. So it's kind of like, get him now while, while the price is low. So, I mean, like, I would just rather do that, like, to me, that's the running back dead zone is a pocket that is higher than normal. The running back dead zone is like 3rd round there, where it's like Breece Hall, Bucky Irving. I just kind of don't want that. And I would rather get the cheaper rookies in the back end. Even RJ Harvey had himself a good game, so I don't know where you're at with Hendo.
I've played this game with TreVeyon Henderson before, and his name was Jahmyr Gibbs, and I struck gold, right? I mean, this is like the easiest, like, this is like again, I understand people are tired of hearing that, oh my gosh, you're just comparing him to Jahmyr Gibbs because they profile the same, whatever. But it's like, these are the kind of players, the kind of running backs where if they get in the right offensive system under the right play callers, You run them outside, you get them in space, you get the ball in their hands, they're going to be electric. They're going to make something happen with it. And Josh McDaniels, he's been around the block a few times. He knows how to utilize an explosive asset like TreVeyon Henderson. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, even if the price tag keeps going up here, I've been drafting TreVeyon Henderson, running back 22, I think. I was most frequently drafting him at. After this weekend, he's going to be much closer to, again, that like, who's in that like Chuba Hubbard, Ken Walker range. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him steamed up there. And I'm still going to be in because I have been skipping over that range of like Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, James Cook to instead draft guys like Kenneth Walker, the Alvin Kamaras, and now it's going to end up being TreVeyon Henderson in that range because I just think those guys provide more explosives. Not all of them provide more explosives, but it's such an easy tier to skip over when I think a lot of the guys going behind them could just provide upside and similar value to all of them at the end of the season.
Yep, exactly, man. It's just like Breece Hall at this point, I could just get a cheaper version of him later, like if anything in Dynasty, like I'm a big zero RB guy. So a lot of times I'm hoping I hit on running backs and rookie drafts for Dynasty.
Yep.
So like now Breece Hall's attractive to me now. Like I'm that type of guy. So I'm going to go out and make trades and get him. Right. So like, this is why I missed doing shows with Jeff Bell. Like we called it like, it's a Schrodinger's running back, meaning that he's both a buy and a sell, depending on your situation here. Except to keep it for redraft to best ball, it's just a pure sell for me. Like I'd just rather move on. It's like you said, Chuba Hubbard. I'd rather have Chuba Hubbard and Ken Walker than Breece Hall at that point. Like it's just, it's unfortunate, and I don't think the shares that I've already drafted are on fire at this point. It's just not optimal.
Right.
And I think it's fair to say.
Right.
And I know, like to keep it back, like I know we brought up like TreVeyon Henderson to keep it back there. I know some people are worried about that offensive line. I don't think it matters as much for TreVeyon Henderson because of that receiving upside on here. Like I do worry about, Drake May. That's why I won't overdraft Drake May. I will appropriately draft Drake May. I'm not trying to reach for him. The same thing with their weapons. I like Kyle Williams. Stephon Diggs, I get the upside. I'm not arguing with someone against it, but like I do some everyman logic with it. If you're an older guy on a new team that is coming off an injury, and you're on Instagram Live talking about the smell of someone's BBL, like I'm just like, all right, this isn't a guy that I think is interested in football.
That's that point. Look, that's all I need to hear of. Like, hey, I'll mix you in, but sorry, you're a little too weird at this point.
That's what I'm saying. I just like I can't do it.
Man. I won't make the vibes pick. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it was just like it was like when people start. I make the joke like when people start doing like the Paul George stuff. When you're in your podcast P era, I just don't want you anymore. Like Tyreek Hill podcast P era. I just like I'm good on you, dog.
That's such a valid. I think that needs to become like a normal thing that's just made regularized around the industry. Is just like if you've hit that era where it's like, hey, I can look back and think fondly of you, but you are clearly on the other things right now.
It's like Taylor Lewan. He did the same thing. Offensive line. As soon as you get that podcast, it's done for you, bro. I just can't.
He's got that Netflix money now with Battle Camp.
Exactly. I watched that
Netflix
show.
money now. Yeah, man. Yeah, my wife turned it on. Now we're getting way off track. But anyways, yes, to TreVeyon Henderson, 100%. It's the reason why I'm drafting a crap ton of Kyle Williams. I'm drafting a crap ton of TreVeyon Henderson. Is because one, I just believe in this offense. I think they will bounce back. And look, everybody's saying Will Campbell can't play left tackle. I don't know, man. I thought he looked pretty good in his first game of preseason action. Threw a massive block out in space too to open up a gap. I mean, the guy can move. He can get out in space and create some holes for TreVeyon Henderson on the outside too. So no, I'm with you. I'm in on the Patriots offense. I don't want to aggressively draft too many of them, but when they fall into my lap, I will definitely be spraying on TreVeyon Henderson. Kyle Williams, I'm happily to draft, and Drake May. When he falls into my lap, he's probably the easiest click in that range of the board.
100%, man. And to be honest, I think that like they're kind of fall in the category with the Jaguars where I don't feel like I'm selling my soul, even if I am a little overweight on them at that point, just because of the cost that they're in.
Until TreVeyon gets to that point, I'll be drafting him. which
Yeah, I was about to say,
who
like,
knows? He could be to the Amari and Hampton range before we know it. And I'm like, oof. Okay, maybe I need to reconsider. But for now, I'm buying until he gets to that range.
and the last point on Will Campbell, like admittedly, I'm a Patriots fan. Like, well, we don't know if he can play left tackle. If he can play right tackle, well, cool. We have nobody there either. Yeah. Man, that's just
somebody's got to fill one of the holes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like
just get him.
Get
him out there.
We have 5 spots, and I would love to have an all pro there. I don't care where, you know. Before we go, I got some deep sleeper guys. These are people that are being rostered in like 100% of leagues that we just talked about. Now I'm going to get into the sicko stuff. But before we go any further, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you like content like this, it helps me continue to yap and bring on other yappers like Lucas. Also, if you want to get on the best ball action, you want to get on Fast Draft, our Rabbit tournament isn't full yet. We just have another Flex 4 draft. We try to make it fast for you, obviously from all the branding, and you can use my code JAG on the screen where we'll give you up to a $50 deposit match. And you want to get in on this now because we have our DFS slate that is ready to roll out here pretty soon. And with that being said, we will hop right back into it. It's Tre Harris. It's not great, Bob. This is not even just like a preseason thing. He can't catch the ball. They got what's better than 1 Quentin Johnston? 2 Quentin Johnston.
2. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
He was my he was, again, like during the rookie scouting, he was my do not draft Quentin Johnston of it, because I'm like, man, he's in a very friendly system. And this is no shade to Jackson Dart. I think it's different. He's in a friendly system, but he doesn't separate from speed. He has okay feet. He's okay at the line of scrimmage, but then he goes out and he runs a 4.5, that validates it. I know he has some big catchability, but it's just Quentin Johnston all over again, man. And a lot of people, especially Dynasty bros, were just like, I have to have him, yards per route run, bro, yards per route run. I'm just like, okay, man, that is one number in a sea of information that you use to make full-time analysis. 12th round, wide receiver 54. He's aggressively falling in average draft position right now. I think it was like 8 spots. I expect that. And to give you guys context, the data I'm looking at, this is rolling 28-day data. So like tomorrow, it's only going to be worse. So yeah, so keep that in mind. And then he's still being rostered in 94.7%. Stop doing that, guys. Just move on. I would rather you have Keandre Lambert-Smith at this point, because they seem to be more into him. Is he another one? Will you'll mix in 1 or 2 just so you say he can?
I've already mixed in 1 or 2, so I'm good. Like I was already drafting him at peak price, and then I looked at Quentin Johnston's ADP, and I thought, man, maybe I should just draft more Quentin Johnston instead, which kind of made me throw up a little bit. But then you get all the Keandre Lambert-Smith hype. Rondre Gadsden apparently is going to fit in here. Apparently he's going to get some time. I don't know, man. At some point, I think Tre Harris is just going to get lost in the shuffle of this, where I thought landing with the Chargers was like a fairly decent fit for him. But boy, if he can't make a name for himself in camp here, and guys like Keandre Lambert-Smith are getting out there and making noise, Keenan Allen's back now for whatever that's worth. It's just too easy for him to get lost in the shuffle, I think. And boy, his ADP quickly isn't going to line up with what his value will end up being this year.
Mm-hmm. That's what everyone was just like, well, Lad McConkey, they got Keenan Allen. Anyone could have had Keenan Allen all summer long. Yeah, like all summer long. We saw Keenan Allen in his tight end years last year. Yeah, right. No disrespect, man. He still earned targets, actually, and was an effective player, I would say.
Question mark? Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the Bears last year and draw a conclusion off of.
Yeah, exactly. He was a player that earned targets last year at his age, and that's fine. But like, this had nothing to do with Lad McConkey. It's just that they have Lad McConkey, and then they have a lot of question marks. Keenan Allen could come in right away and fit into any system and provides them depth. So that was definitely a Tre Harris problem. Like, I'm still in on Lad McConkey. He even dipped further, and I'm like, ooh, let me go get some more. Just because his reception perception numbers were like 99th percentile, guys. It doesn't happen at rookies. So next, another show, another Jagger May, Kyle Monangai endorsement. He is still going undrafted, guys. Like, am I bad at my job? Like, what do you guys, am I a joke to you people? He's RB65, still no significant ADP movement, going 4.4% of drafts. Those 4.4% of drafts are probably me when I sneakily go in there sometimes to see what happening. Got like it happened this preseason. He's Roshan Johnson isn't real, guys. Roshan Johnson can't hurt you, you know.
He can
but
hurt me. He's already hurt me.
Yeah, but Kyle Monangai can help you. Like, are you in on him? Have you started drafting him?
Yeah, I have now because I was drafting Roshan Johnson. And the more the offseason has gone on, again, Coach Speak Index is such a valuable resource, whether people want to like fully subscribe to it or not. Look, when Ben Johnson, the coaching staff, isn't asked anything about Roshan Johnson, at some point I'm like, okay, I'll just keep buying the dip. I'll keep buying the dip. And then Kyle Monangai gets out on the field and looks like he can be an actual hammer. And I'm like, well, all right, maybe there is something here and I should probably quit drafting Roshan Johnson and instead just draft Kyle Monangai, who's going literally, like you said, undrafted. The only people drafting him is Jagger mixing him in at the end of his drafts here. I mean, even on other platforms, right? He's barely sniffing the 17th, 18th round. To me, it's like if Roshan Johnson is going in 14th, 15th round, like at this point, it should be, probably 15th round, Kyle Monangai and 17th, 18th round Roshan Johnson probably. Because that was originally my line of thought was Roshan Johnson could be the hammer. Ben Johnson, during his time in Detroit, never gave a Lions back more than 54% of the team's totes. And that was Jamal Williams in 2022. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm like, well, great. Roshan Johnson could carve out a little bit of a role here. But no, if it looks like Kyle Monangai can play the hammer a little bit for this team, he has to start being drafted. No questions asked.
Yeah. It's just like him and Braylon Allen. I can't stop leaving drafts with right now. In that range. So that's and I tell people, they're like, well, Roshan Johnson's this young guy and he finally is getting his chance. Roshan Johnson is on year 4. He's in the last year of his rookie contract and he's had every opportunity. We know that DeAndre Swift is a change of pace back. Like if anything, it's going to be more, when I say 1A, 1B, it's more like 1A kind of situation, because DeAndre Swift will probably primarily be a third down guy. And I'm not saying that he's not a value at his cost. This isn't slander to Swift, but I just don't understand why everyone has just been so enamored by Roshan Johnson. He is a high school quarterback who converted a running back in college and got maybe like 6 carries behind Bijan Robinson, and it shows in the NFL, man. Like it's just, they don't give the patience to teach these guys how to play running back, and pass blocking isn't enough. Another low key guy, Keaton Mitchell. Looks good, man. Last year he was just injured, and he looked good before he got injured last year. And we know that Derrick Henry, great, but he only plays 53% of the snaps. Every one of those snaps are great. Again, no Derrick Henry slander, but that role opposite of him, that Justice Hill role, that it's weird that that's a thing. What if it was Keaton Mitchell, who's actually fast?
Right. Seriously.
Another undrafted, trending down. Again, this is 28-day rolling data. So I'm curious of like the next couple of days of where that goes. But again, another 4.8 rostership. Seems like that those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers up, buddy. So.
Well, I mean, and you can look at guys like Ray Davis, and Tyler Algier seems to be the clear backup to Bijan Robinson. But how many handcuffs can you look at in that range of running backs where you look at their starting running back and it's like, well, they're young enough, might get some touches. It's a backup, maybe. Not many have a 32, 33-year-old running back ahead of them who could go down at any point. I'm not saying Derrick Henry's going to get injured this year, but if something were to happen to Derrick Henry, I don't understand why we're looking at why can't I pull his name out of pass catching back?
Keaton Mitchell.
Oh, it's Keaton, not Keaton Mitchell. Justice Hill. Golly, I don't know why that took me forever. I'm like, I can literally picture him, Justice Hill. It's not going to go to Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell is going to get mixed in here. So, yeah, to me, Keaton Mitchell should be a guy who, even if he does get some lone work this year behind Derrick Henry, it's probably worth more than, at least on most platforms I've seen, he's outside of the top 60 running backs going off the board. Like, to me, he should be probably going inside of the top 60 for sure, if not knocking on the door of, top 50.
Mm-hmm. And guys, this is your last pick. Like, I'm not saying you're going out here and you're taking him as your RB4 even, like you're going to have him in your flex. He is someone that is a high upside target and someone that I would rather draft with a clear role than that. Like, I mean, some of these vets that, and I know that there's a random vet that pops up like every now and then, but like, I don't know, man. I'm not going to hold a candle to, again, like I bring it up. I'm not trying to dunk on him, but like Roschon Johnson, who has Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. When Keaton Mitchell, he has his own standalone value, and then if there's injury on top of that, there's even more. It just, like, those are the shots that I like to take as my last pick, because those are the ones that end up giving you real league winner value if there's a type of injury because of your point of entry cost. These next two guys, I have zero data on them. No one has drafted them. This latest time of it, like, it's Tory Horton on the Seahawks, man. They have 1,000 slots, 3 tight ends, and then Tory Horton on the outside.
Yep.
That is it, man. Have you heard of MVS? If you have, congrats. You know what he has to offer, which is nothing. So yeah. That's my
4 games with the Saints last year. That's about it.
Exactly. That's what my pitch for Tory Horton. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado, CSU guy. I was the radio producer, watched most of Tory Horton's career on here. It was not Tory Horton the reason why he didn't have more production, even for Mountain West Conference. Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, I'm not lying, dude. Some of the worst quarterback play I've ever had the displeasure to see in my life. And on top of that, he had injuries. But this was a guy who's 6'2", returning punts and like moving like a punt returner. They used him creatively. So the Seahawks, if they want like a deep shot guy, again, last pick, guys, that let's say you go wide receiver early, or you're going to take a lot of these late shots. This is someone right away that could crack your lineup more often than not. Do you buy the Tory Horton camp hype?
I feel so vindicated because I was drafting Tory Horton nonstop before it was cool to like Tory Horton in Bestball drafts. I like when Bestball opened this summer, it was like my guilty pleasure, right? Or it's like 18th round. Okay, all right. I need to stack a week 17 somehow. I've got some Panthers here. I guess I'll backstack Sam Darnold and Tory Horton because of that exact logic, right? Where it's like, all right, well, it's a JSN and Cooper Kupp. Apparently they're both going to play slot. I don't know how that's going to work. They'll probably shift JSN outside, right? We don't have to digest the Seattle Seahawks offense, but when MVS is your only competition, I'll take my odds on Tory Horton and the talent that he can bring to this offense. Because again, if you watch this film coming out, there's actually a lot to like about Tory Horton's film. So I'm glad he landed on the Seahawks team with limited competition, because it's a clear path to playing time here in this offense. And it's like you said, it's the last pick. Take a shot on these high upside rookies who could actually provide you something other than the wide receiver 80 that they're being taken at. They could finish as the wide receiver 45, which is already 35 wide receivers ahead of where they're being drafted.
Yeah, and then like fast draft's a little bit more rotisserie style, and then like season total. So that's a bit different. But like even if you're doing best ball dynasty, even if you're doing like underdog or something, that like Tory Horton, he has the upside to crack your lineup more than once, with that value. And again, he plays special teams. That's another touch and opportunity, and he has the explosion to do it. Another one here, I've been like in dynasty, I think I'm at like 100% exposure. You mix I'm an Arkansas fan, and then I thought he goes to a real spot where I think he has an opportunity. It's Isaac TeSlaa. I think there's the clear shift in this offense with Ben Johnson. You think about coach speak. They said straight up they want to still lean on the run game, but they want to take more deep shots. And then they go out and get a guy like Isaac TeSlaa. And then you remember last year that and now I'm going to blank on something. I got it. Tim Patrick. There's the Tim Patrick Bowl that role that was relevant last year.
Yeah.
That I think that Isaac TeSlaa could crack a lineup. Jameson Williams has only been healthy one season. So again, this is someone else that slots in as like a clear backup to Jameson Williams. That's your last pick. Again, these are, I said, there's the shadow realm, guys. This is beneath that. This isn't, you know, where you're taking a crazy swing that I think has a more, has a higher upside to hit than a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, and that's how you have to look at all these picks in the last round, right? It's you might as well swing on the high upside rookies. I will say the one thing with the lines that I have been not concerned about, but we all think, and I shouldn't categorize it as we all, but there's a majority that thinks this Lions offense is going to regress, yet Jameson Williams is going to take a step forward. Amon-Ra is still going to be just fine. Sam Laporta is going to have a bounce back season. And you have Isaac TeSlaa, who's going to come in and have a prevalent role. To me, like, something has to give out of that equation. But point being, I think like Isaac TeSlaa is the lowest risk asset you can take out of that bunch, who also, like, again, when we're talking about guys who are going outside of the top 80 wide receivers, can give you a top 50 finish in a relevant Tim Patrick role offense that you brought up last year. Like, it's worth taking a swing on those guys in the last round, because you're either drafting a dude who's just going to be riding your bench the whole season, or a guy in a rookie who could give you a few spike weeks over the back half of the season.
And I love the point that you brought up, that something's got to give. And that's the reason why I'm out on the higher end prospects.
Totally. Yes.
But with the exception of Gibbs,
yes.
I don't want Monty anymore. I was like one of the big Monty guys. I'm just good on that at cost. I have very little Laporta in any redraft whatsoever at all at cost. And they're tight end dead zone for me. I don't have a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'd rather have Brian Thomas Jr. or that, or I'd rather wait on Jameson Williams later, type thing. That's just that's how you play there's a lot in this offense and they may regress. You kind of want to choose the cheaper options a lot. Right. And the Lions are unique because the talent, and I'm not saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown sucks. I'm saying that Jameson Williams is a good player. Like, he's a very good player, first round wide receiver. So like the talent isn't so much where I'm going to go with the cheaper guy and you're picking the 7th round rookie over the backup. Like before the unfortunate Quinshon Judkins news, everyone's like, I would just rather have Dylan Sampson. I'm like, okay, cool. Get the worst player. Right. I don't think it's the case here. But guys, those were 12 players that we went through there. The next week we'll kind of do the same. And then I don't know if they're going to do it where week 3, they just kind of roll out there. Just like last chance to get your job, but we'll keep following this all training camp. I'll make sure to bring Lucas on more often. He's over at Fantasy Football Fellas. You guys got that channel cooking over there. You guys make great content. You guys just dominate the short content over there. You got anything you want to plug?
Honestly, no. I mean, the subscription would be great. I appreciate you taking the chance on the short form guy who tells you the 5 players you absolutely have to draft this season of fantasy football, otherwise you're due. Right? Like, look, we try and beat those allegations as much as we can. So, subscribe to our channel. We're talking fantasy football content all off season long too. But no, man. Anytime you want to chop it up, you hit my DMs and I'll be here as fast as I can.
Oh yeah, like I said, like my boy Alfredo gave you guys advice over there, and you guys' YouTube channel is just straight up cooking over there, and I'd love to see you guys working. But as always, guys, do all the YouTube stuff I've ever asked, like, subscribe, use my code, blah blah blah. Love you. See you on the next one. So I thought I needed.